Hi everyone, and welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today I'm going to be bringing you the monthly forecast for April and May. And to be quite honest, this is going to be a very, very impactful and insightful monthly forecast because there is a lot going on in the skies at this point in time. And to be honest, like with the amount of stuff that's actually taking place within our lives and the transformations and such, what a time to be alive. I mean, that's really how I'm going to feel like opening up in this forecast is what a time to be alive. This is what we've been waiting for a very, very long time. In fact, since 2011, this month in 2014 has really been what it's been building up to with all these Pluto and Uranus squares. In other words, this liberation, what's been going on in the world, this is what it's been coming up to. So the monthly forecast is going to include all this information in it, so stay tuned. Okay, a couple of things that I just want to run through with you guys over there. Firstly, thank you very much for all the subscribers. I truly appreciate all the support that you guys have been offering. I really appreciate everything. And for anybody that has come over to my site and booked readings with myself, thank you very much. I'm hoping to get all of that stuff sorted for you. And at the same time, for anybody that is interested in understanding and wanting to know more about their own astrology charts, come over to my website, simonvorster.com. Okay, so where do we begin? Taurus. The sun has just clicked into this constellation Taurus. And so for us on Earth, from today until the 20th of May, we are going to experience basically some core underlying factors of what we think or what we need in our lives, what we think we need to survive. This is exactly what the bottom line of Taurus, the sun in Taurus, is going to be doing for us. With the amount of planetary activity at the moment, especially the Cardinal cross that's taking place, I really am sort of grateful for the fact that the sun is moving into Taurus, to be honest, because there's a sense of groundingness that's going to take over. This month we've had the sun in Aries for the month, and I don't know if you guys have been experiencing it, but time has been going extremely fast. There has been acceleration, there has been liberations taking place, there has been breakdowns in terms of old ways of thinking and being. Paradigms have been shifting at speeds like unbelievable. Just the way that we're looking at our world, for instance. It was kind of big with the sun moving into Aries last month and going over the sign Uranus, which is actually in Aries at the moment, which is the liberating factor. Uranus will speed up everything and anything that it touches in the Zodiac. So with the sun moving over Uranus in the last month, the time and speed of everything has just been sort of like phenomenal. And so Taurus now is going to be slowing everything down. So what I suspect is that we are going to be feeling a kind of like halt, a kind of like grounding, a kind of like experience in which we're slamming on the brakes and going, whoa, okay, now everything that we've kind of learned in the last month and a half in terms of our experiences is going to kind of come back to us. Taurus is an energy that is feminine. It is an earth sign, so we're looking at things a little bit more grounded. We're becoming aware of stuff that is not, we're not going outwards, we're going inwards within ourselves. So there's a kind of inner reflection that's going to be taking place during this month. And Taurus is also going to be relating to those value systems, okay? We have been paying attention a lot with Venus crossing over Pluto in December 2013. We've been focusing a lot on what our value system is and what we think we need to survive and what our needs are and reprioritizing all of this type of stuff. And so with the sun moving into the constellation Taurus for this month, we're going to kind of like get a little bit of a glimpse. We're not going to get a glimpse, we are going to get a lot of information about what was really happening in December 2013 with Venus. So there's going to be that revisited again. So check your relationships. They might be reevaluating at this point in time. You might discover some new needs. You might reevaluate what you need, etc., etc. How you define your resources. This is going to be a big thing in this month globally for all of us. We're going to be seeing what it is that we are valuing and how our resources are being distributed all over our lives. So these are some things that I would highly urge you guys to focus on during this month. The sun will be giving you a kind of like flashlight that were aiding us and saying, hey, by the way, look in this direction. Now, from the point of view of humanity's, evolution and consciousness and spiritually wise, the sun moving into Taurus to me feels more like giving us a sense of groundingness during this cardinal cross that's going to be taking place in 2 days' time, where that shift's going to take place completely, where we're going to feel the totality of this square and opposition. So with the sun in Taurus, I think there's a nice sort of groundingness that's going to be giving us this ability to not fly off into distance or lose the plot when it comes to these crosses and oppositions getting full force into our consciousness. So Taurus, sun sign, a good thing. Like I said, let me just recap over there. Talking about your resources, your money, etc., etc. You're going to be reevaluating your value systems. So that's something to focus on. If you are feeling like something is not matching your frequency, or if you're not really sort of feeling right, etc., try to see if it's got to do with what you need and how you are projecting that out into the world, that you're bringing people into your world based on what these needs are. So check your needs, check your resources, and check what you are valuing at this point in time, and just allow the energy to kind of slow you down during this month. Okay, it will be that sort of stabilizing energy that's necessary completely. So on the right hand side, what I've done is I've just put a couple of the planetary systems, or where the symbols are as of today. Obviously the moon will be moving a lot faster. Mercury is still in Aries, Venus is still in Pisces, Mars is still in Libra retrograde, Jupiter still in Cancer, Saturn still in Scorpio retrograde as well, and Neptune and Uranus as well, they're Aries and Pisces, and of course Pluto and Capricorn. So we've got a kind of a mixture here of not much air, some earth and a lot of water, and 2 fires, for instance. So there isn't really anything much to say apart from the fact that we are looking at a little bit of emotional transformation with some of that water sign that's happening over there, and of course with some of the Taurus energy there and the Capricorn energy there, we are looking at a little bit of groundingness and how to reevaluate what it is that we are seeing as practical, seeing as resourceful, seeing as maturity, etc. So those are the things. Now, before I quickly go on to some of the planetary squares and aspects that are being made during this month and some highlights, I just want you guys to notice that on the left-hand side, Pluto, which is as you can see over there, Pluto's retrograde at the moment. It's R. And Pluto went retrograde just recently, I think about 6 days ago. And this is a really significant thing because Pluto will correlate or reflects the nature of our desires. Our desires are the way in which we are actioning our choices and how we experience evolution in our lives. So when we desire something, we have this polarity where on one hand we are desiring something that we do want, and then through that we're desiring something that we don't want. It's not desiring. And so when Pluto goes retrograde, there are a couple of factors that take place. One of them is that we kind of exhaust all of our desires a lot faster. So you might be experiencing, some reflection on what your desires are. You might be, experiencing a sort of like a halt on what you're desiring. With Pluto going retrograde, it's just going to sort of allow for information to go inwards and to sort of kind of analyze, what the nature of your desires are. There's an internal reflection of this energy. The energy is going inwards so that we can sort of become more aware of the what it is symbolizing, for instance. So desires, Pluto retrograde, everything just about acknowledging and understanding what it is that we're desiring and sort of really zoning in on it and understanding it completely and seeing if it's true to ourselves. It's kind of, that's what it's trying to reflect back to us, if it's true to ourselves. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just go on to some systems or some aspects that are being made at this point in time and kind of like give us a little bit of a heads up on that. So the first one I'd like to do is the relationship between Jupiter and Pluto. As you know, Pluto is the deepest unconscious emotional security, and through that, what we desire, it's our empowerment, it's how we make our choices. But this is really unconscious. Mars really acts that out, but it is where we are making our choices. And it's because Pluto is obviously in Capricorn, and we're kind of like experiencing having to let go of fear-based consciousness. This is what Pluto in Capricorn's about. It's about letting go of these old, outdated paradigms in which we are experiencing our reality. So anything that is coming up that is an emotional attachment that is outside of yourself, Pluto is going to be kind of like, transforming. It's going to be removing it from you. And Jupiter, as you know, is your natural side. It's the natural way of being. It's your intuition. It's your right brain. It's your creativity. It's, in a sense, the expansion. Now, they're in the sign Capricorn and Cancer, which is a very, very, very important thing, actually, to be honest, at this point in time. Because the overall perspective of the Cardinal Cross is to develop a total sense of inner security. And the reason why we're developing inner security is because our vulnerabilities are being sort of exposed to us as our emotional attachments, our unconscious emotional attachments, are being removed from us. So as you know, Pluto is those emotional attachments. Those are being sort of transformed. Everything that is outside of ourselves is breaking down completely. And so in order for us to reconnect with a new way of being, we're having to develop a sense of inner security, so that whatever is being removed from us, we can still handle our reality. We're not still living in a fear-based way. We're accepting change. We're becoming open to change. And it is that internal security that is allowing us to get out of any sort of anxiety that we're going to be feeling with Pluto square Uranus, which I'll get onto a little bit later. But the purpose over here, in terms of why this is massive, is because, like I said, this is an opposition, and this opposition is kind of like giving us a tug and war, where things are being removed from outside of ourselves. Wherever we are emotionally attaching to old paradigms, old ways of thinking, they're getting taken away from us, and then we're living in this sense of vulnerability of going like, where is everything? Oh my God, I can't hold on to something. So Jupiter and Pluto in this opposition are kind of like forcing us to develop that inner security, forcing it intensely. So this is what I'm urging everybody to do at this point in time. With Jupiter in Cancer, wherever it exists in your natal chart, if you're somebody that knows how your astrology works, for instance, wherever house that is in, that will be giving you a very strong clue as to where your vulnerabilities lie, and where you can feel that there is no need for those vulnerabilities to exist, okay, to work through them, to emotionally redefine them without any sense of vulnerability, to let go of any fear-based beliefs that are that are allowing you to feel like you have this illusion of vulnerability, because it isn't the case. Okay, these are the deepest lessons that are being shared with you guys right now. Okay, so why I've written brick wall is because what's going to be happening is that any problem that is outside of yourself at this point in time that you are going to try and fix with using a sort of like fear-based type of consciousness, where you feel insecure, where you feel vulnerable, and you're trying to attach yourself back to what you know, you're going to be hit with a brick wall, because no longer are those thinking patterns going to be able to fix the problem. Okay, and when I use the word problem, I don't actually mean it in the sense that there is a problem. Obviously, it's all an illusion. It's that the thing that is necessary for you to move past any sort of issues or any sort of problems that you might be having at this point in time, that is the Jupiter, that is the intuitive connection to your inner security and developing that. And so if you're not using that type of consciousness, then you're just going to be hit by a brick wall completely. It's just going to feel like you can't actually solve the problem. Okay, so that's the one thing that's really, really big with the Jupiter opposed Pluto. And another reason as to why this is the case is because the natural evolutionary necessity, in other words, the evolutionary perspective of Pluto is to look at the opposite side. So wherever Pluto is in your astrology chart, or wherever Pluto is, at this point in time, so in this case, Capricorn, we need to include the other side of Capricorn. We need to balance it out. We need to include inner security, Cancer, to the outer security, Capricorn. Okay, so the evolution of humanity at this point in time, the evolution of us as a race, is that Cancer Jupiter experience, and so therefore there's massive emphasis on the inner security, because it is relating to that. Okay, and I'll explain a little bit further as to what the link is in terms of the cardinal cross. But connect back to home. I've done a couple of videos that actually explain the nature of Jupiter more so I'm going to link that in the description below, or actually just tag it into the video, and you can have a look at that for more sort of in-depth description. Okay, so this is now the reason as to why I'm talking about the insecurity again, and obviously the liberation crisis is in action. So another aspect that's being made at this point in time is Uranus. It will be making a square to Jupiter. And look what we have again. We have Jupiter again in the mix. Why? Because the evolutionary intent of this lifetime. So as you guys know, Uranus is making a square to Pluto as well, which is part of the Grand Cross. And Uranus in itself will liberate anything and everything that it touches. It speeds up the process. It breaks every outdated or outmoded experience and just completely and utter shatters and said, nope, this is the new way you need to be. It's like raising the bar of vibration, of energy and consciousness. It is removing the old paradigms. So because it's in Aries, we have been experiencing obviously our own liberation from ourselves, which is why since 2011 we have been waking up, as it were. And this is just that Uranus is accelerating the nature of what it is that we want with ourselves and how we are going to be. And with Jupiter in this mix over here, again, inner security, and Aries ourselves. So what is happening with the square? Firstly, the square between Uranus and Cancer is what we call a crisis in action square. It's the first 90 degrees. So the relationship between Uranus and Jupiter is one where we are developing. We've gathered all the information necessary. We've kind of got an idea of where we're going. We've kind of got like a sense of what it is that we want, for instance. But now the square is called a crisis in action. And it's like, how do we actually put all of this into place? How do we actually kind of like take all this information, put it out there? How do we make it exist? How do we make it part of ourselves? So this is the crisis in action. How do we actually actualize this stuff? How do we go forward with this information? And obviously this is the case because anything that is existing after the square, in other words, after 90 degrees, has not actually been explored yet. So we don't know how it's going. So it's just a natural process for us to sort of feel this way in which we've kind of like know to a certain degree what our direction is, but we got to try and sort of put it into place, but we don't know how we're doing it. So the reason as to why there's inner security is because the way in which we go about working through a crisis in action square is that we kind of go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We kind of go forward feeling, okay, this is the new way to go. But then as soon as we sort of start to feel that we're doubting ourselves, or we have some fear, or it's not working out for us, or it's too risky, we go backwards and say, okay, I'm safe now. I'm safe in the known. But then unfortunately that energy pushes us back into the future because anything that is outdated, anything that is in the past does not work for us anymore. So we kind of get frustrated and then we go forward again. So this is the sort of like dance that's happening between Uranus and Jupiter at this stage. So we're expanding our beliefs, we're expanding our intuition, we're accelerating the way in which we want to be, but yet we're not really quite sort of like knowing where it goes into place. And so we kind of like have this idea of breaking free. You might want to leave your job, for instance, and you're going, right, this is it, I'm going to do it. And then you kind of get like a little bit of wet feet and say, no, I'm going to put it off. Now, some good news over here. Again, we're developing an inner sense of security. The relationship between Cancer and Aries is one where we have this underlying anxiety of the separation from our womb, okay? The womb is Cancer, and Aries relates to the birthing process, the child. And from birth, we are removed from the womb, which is our sense of security. And as we are as a baby, we don't actually have the understanding that we are separate from our parents or from our mother, from our womb. And so what we do is we want to return back to the womb, for instance. That's the first thing. And the second thing is we're not actually given any sense of security, as it were, in that sense. So we have the separation from security and we want to go back to the womb. And so part of this experience is, again, developing that inner sense of security because it's natural in the zodiac for it not to exist. So we're trying to recreate that sense of security. So inner security, big thing. Crisis in action, as you know. And then Uranus is liberating. So we're breaking free from old paradigms. Again, we're just constantly going along this process. We're doing it, we're doing it, we're doing it. And eventually we'll get to a point where we'll know exactly what it is. But for now, this is where we are. So my advice to everybody is to just stay calm. Just kind of like try things out. If you get a little bit of wet feet, for instance, jump back into you will naturally go back to your security, but then you'll be pushed out of it again, and just kind of go through this motion, just feeling your way through. Okay. The next one is the big day, the D-Day, the 22nd of April, 23rd of April. And that's exactly what's happening at this point in time. And this is massive. This is a massive shift for everybody, because every single planet will be at 13 degrees. And one of the things that I was explained to, or shared with about, was the 13-degree Cancer correlates to the invariable plane, which apparently is a plane in which all the planets, or this is the ecliptic, for instance. And so what's going to be happening at this point in time is that all these planets are going to be squaring off against each other, providing these oppositions and such. And I'm not really sure. I'm waiting with bated breath as to what is going to happen. But I think this is what the paradigm shift is all about. I think this is what we're going to accelerate. This is kind of like the gate. And we've been sort of walking to the gate, for instance, and we were like for the last like 2 or 3 months peeking over the gate saying, what's on the other side? What's on the other side? And this square opposition, cardinal cross that's taking place is kind of going to be the gate, and we're going to be looking over it. And this is where we're going to be opening the gate and saying, right, let's do it. Let's go forward. And I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm most certainly excited about how this cardinal cross is going to shift our consciousness. I have done a video earlier on this speaking about what it represents. It is about total self-awareness, because Mars will be triggering off within our relationships and within our sort of like daily lives experiences. And because it's retrograde, it's going to be shooting back to Uranus. Uranus is going to be making us aware of where we are outdated, where our thinking patterns are sort of leaving us behind, where we're not applying a new higher state of consciousness or a more eco-friendly state of awareness to our reality. So this is what the cardinal cross is going to be doing. I have made a video on it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But the 22nd of April, 23rd of April, everybody pay attention. I would suggest just chilling, staying under the radar, not trying to sort of be extravagant with your life, for instance. Just walk around, enjoy nature, tune in to the frequency, the energy that's taking place. Do meditations, really sort of like absorb this energy as much as possible, because it is absolutely life-changing. And what an exciting time to be in, because that square and opposition hasn't happened for like ages. I'm talking a long period of time. So we're born during this period of time, and take advantage of it. It's a fantastic thing. Okay, so cardinal cross, 23rd, 22nd of April. Big stuff. Remember, internal security, not to fear-based. Okay, and then 29th of April, here we go. Check it out. New moon and solar eclipse all happening in Taurus, and Mercury also comes into Taurus at the same time. So 29th of April. And this is a big deal because, from the perspective of what the shift is going to be taking place, I do suspect that to have Taurus as the kind of like energy that's going to be after it, it's definitely about stability. It's definitely about grounding. It's definitely about taking the weights on our sort of like floating sort of new agey type of cardinal cross shift experience, and going, okay guys, let's ground ourselves now, let's attach ourselves to earth, and let's make sense of what's just happened. So this new moon in Taurus is going to be definitely doing that. It's going to be putting the seeds into our consciousness and allowing us for the next 30 days until the cycle's ended, for us to really connect to our self-worth, really connect to what we value, really connect to what is our stability, really connect to what we think we need to survive. And this is going to be a really important new moon, for instance, because it's happening on the solar eclipse, and the solar eclipse is just going to be amplifying it. We're just going to get this opportunity to have like the sun in Taurus, and then a solar eclipse also just sharing this information and intensifying this energy. So This is exciting times in my opinion, especially with Mercury. Mercury's going to slow everything down. So we're going to have this acceleration of energy, and then all of a sudden just slow down. And we're going to kind of get an opportunity to kind of make sense of this type of stuff. So exciting times happening for us on the 29th as well. So what does it all mean in the totality of this? Well, I think I've pretty much covered exactly how I feel about it. I'd like to sort of just share with everybody a couple of some highlights about this month and how to ground yourself. Firstly, it's about shifting your consciousness away from the ego and feeling I, myself, and shifting into the we consciousness, which is like what everybody's been doing. The Pisces energy, we are all one. Okay, it's about applying that into our lives. It's about shifting away from what it is that we are not, okay, by becoming aware of who we are. This new moon in Taurus, as well as the sun sign in Taurus and Mercury, is really going to connect to our bodies. We're really going to be in our bodies during this period of time, you know, and spirit and matter are going to be sort of aligned at this point in time, and then we're going to feel this energy. So it's about being in our bodies, it's about being present, it's about implementing every single day into your life a meditation of some sort, just reminding you that you are connected to your higher self, that spirit is part of the body, that you're not just a human being born in this time and, you know, fulfilling a certain sort of job obligation up until the age of 50, 60, and then, you know, retiring, and that's the end of your life. It's about accessing the deepest parts of who you are and bringing it to the surface and sharing it with everybody, and really telling the world who you are, sharing that story with everybody, and healing Earth, because that's actually what's happening. We're able and are giving the opportunity to connect to Mother Earth, and for her to really shift her awareness into us and remind us of who we are and what we are. Again, Avatar is a great film to actually be watching at this point in time, because it's truly going to be giving, you know, that's where it's all happening, that's understanding and philosophy about how we are connected to Mother Earth, and she is here. Another reason as to why there's so much Earth on the 29th, it's really going to be amplifying that experience. So, you know, that's really what I want to say with this monthly forecast. If you guys have liked and enjoyed my content, please hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Thank you to all my subscribers at this point in time. You guys are awesome. I hope you really enjoyed this and this was insightful. If you want to know more about how this is personally affecting you and your astrology, come over to my website right now, simonvorster.com. Check out all the free stuff that I have over there, and then write to me or book a reading with myself. All my prices are over there. I've got a special at this point in time. My information's on my site, and contact me, and we can get that rolling for you as well. Okay, everybody, thanks very much for your time. Have a fantastic evening. Take care. Bye-bye.